Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the garage with me, Andy the Gabby Cabby, for another edition of the show, another live stream. Well, today we're going to talk about, and as the thumbnail says here, I'll put this on the screen for you, Sadiq's Big Trouble, a big glaring sign of the ULEZ low emission zone thingy in London, which everybody has had big problems with for, well, ever since its inception, really. It's a disgrace, in my view. It is a con, and the whole thing needs to be scrapped. That's my personal opinion. And being in the business that I'm in, it has an effect on what I say and what I do every single day. I see there's a lot of you in the chat already. Great to see you in. Appreciate it very much. If you haven't done so already, please can I ask you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you're a new person here. That'd be wonderful. Now, a couple of years ago, this landed on my doorstep with a hell of a thud. And that came in the guise of Noel Wilcox. And if you don't know who Noel Wilcox is, here is a picture of him. He's involved with reform, but let's park that for a second because that doesn't really matter. Noel is a self-employed businessman, and he first became involved with this situation where he was fined for driving through the low emission zone, or his vehicle was seen going through the low emission zone, and there's been a lot of backing and forwarding and everything else, which I'll cover in a minute, and it's led him down this path of, well, it's like David and Goliath. I don't think people realise the effect. And just to show you, it has on one man taking on the system. It really is something to behold. And I'll cover that in a little bit more detail in just a second. But I've been aware for, well, a good few weeks now that stuff has been happening in the background. There's things going on. And I've had to go... And thanks to GB News and some of their coverage, which I want to share with you, I had a good catch-up and phone call with Noel this morning, who, at the end of the day, I now consider a friend of mine. He's a good bloke. And one of the things you understand about Noel is when he says he will do something, he will do it. He will see it through to its conclusion. That's why we are where we are today. Now, the whole thing is over this, right? Transport for London, emission, low emission, ULEZ signs, whatever. Now, the whole thing with these signs is they don't tell you everything they're supposed to tell you, i.e. the operation times of the zone, how much, who's to pay, where to pay, and everything else. That's the problem. Now, TfL themselves are very concerned. In turn, Sadiq Khan will be very concerned about this whole thing. This is his baby, being co-chair of the C40 Cities group, and he would look really goddamn stupid if all this fell to pieces. So there's a lot at stake. Now, the very first thing that we need to determine is, are these signs lawful? Are these signs legitimate? Can they be used? And I want to play you a video clip, which was from the London Assembly, and he was asked very directly. Have a listen to this.
You mentioned the ULEZ expansion numerous times during the mayoralty, I know, and I want you to tell me now, are you completely confident that all the signage in the expanded ULEZ zone is legally sound?
Well, we often have examples of non-TfL personnel putting up signs which is not sound, and so the signage that TfL puts up is sound. There have been some errors made by TfL in the past with some of the signage has been just outside the premise of London, and so there's always checks being done on any signage to make sure it's within the parameters of what should be allowed. And I'm confident in the briefing I've received that at the moment the signage is sound, but it's kept under review because human error often happens in these sorts of cases rather than anything more pernicious than that. So if there have been errors made by human beings, we'll rectify that.
Okay, so the answer is yes, you think it is sound. Fine.
So all that filibuster and waffle at the end of the day, this whole thing is, yes, I believe that the signs are sound. That's what he said. He was on camera being asked a very direct question by Susan Hall. The signs are sound. Now, I want to show you the news article that led to me coming on today and, you know, going through this again, because there's some very important points in here. And I hope everybody can see this. It was off GB News. Now, they're saying that they've got sight to certain information, which more than likely is the same information I have sight of and I have had for quite some time. But discretion being what it is, you have to sit on an awful lot of things. Now, let's have a look. ULEZ zone could be suspended with millions owed refunds as fresh legal fight launches. Now, there is a few other comments that Susan Hall made in a thing with Nigel Farage, which are very important, which come back to that fact. So we've got London's ULEZ zone could be suspended and millions of pounds refunded to motorists if a fresh legal challenge is successful. Scaffolding business owner Noel Wilcox is taking Transport for London TfL to court over auto-pay charges based on incorrect signage of the low emission zone in ULEZ. He had already won a similar case over the low emission zone after he was fined £11,500 for driving his truck through the capital. Former Conservative Mayor of London candidate Susan Hall told GB News if Noel's claim is successful, it will be a fantastic victory for him after years of fighting for what is rightfully his. Now, at the end of the day, this has made the public imagination, but what you have to understand, first and foremost, this is a private legal battle between Noel and TfL. It is a private matter over monies owed, although as you read through the news, you can see that potentially you know, that does raise an eyebrow with an awful lot of people. Now, the impact this has had on Noel, I first came into contact with Noel, must be 3 years ago at least, where I saw his name in a paper and he reached out to me, and that's where all this thing started. And he has worked tirelessly on this from that point to the next. He's had problems with contacts. He's had business issues where contracts have gone because of, you know, his involvement in this. Anything that questions an environmental policy, in other words, they don't bloody well like it. They just want to cancel you, get rid of you. So he has faced an awful lot of adversity, sleepless nights, a lot of learning, a lot of finding out about things at his own expense. It has literally taken over the guy's life. And just to show you, he's a normal guy, just like you and I. He, you know, he has relatives, he has people that care, and he's a man on a mission. It's literally David and Goliath at the end of the day. It's just to show you. And also, he had a GoFundMe crowdfunder set up, which a lot of people from my YouTube channel helped establish in the early days and donated a lot. So he's always very grateful and very appreciative of that as well. And it's for those reasons and others, the support and everything else, he has to see this through. Now, let's go back to this article. What amazes me is that Transport for London carried on charging motorists from October 2021 when the adjudicator had already ruled the low emission zone signage unlawful, right through until the ULEZ expansion in August 2023. The London Assembly member added it raises very serious questions about accountability. There's a picture of Noel there. Mr. Wilcox, who is also the chairman of Reform UK's Hemel Hempstead branch, won a landmark legal judgment in 2021. I'll tell you what, I said I've known Noel for 3 years. I think it's actually longer, looking at the dates that are quoted here. It's amazing how time flies. After racking up £11,500 in penalties for driving his scaffolding firm truck in the low emission zone, the adjudicator at the appeal ruled in his favour, saying the scheme did not provide adequate information. So therefore, it would follow that the same would be true of the ULEZ signs as well. They added, I cannot be satisfied that the low emission zone signs are authorised and lawful. TfL have therefore failed to establish that the contraventions occurred and that the PCN's penalty charge notices were lawfully issued. I therefore allow the appeal and direct the PCNs be cancelled. Despite the binding ruling, TfL continued to issue penalties and pursue motorists, including bailiff enforcement against Mr. Wilcox's company in March 2022 for £11,500. He's basing his latest claim against Les ULEZ on his previous win. Mr. Wilcox is claiming TfL has not refunded. So again, I must emphasise this is a private legal battle between TfL and Noel. They've not refunded $2,100 in auto pay charges made for driving in London. Next month's Central London County Court hearing, a private law claim, there you go, a private law claim could result in legal wrangle that TfL fears would result in the scrapping of ULEZ. So you can see there's very big implications when people start reading into this. Now, it says about a legal hearing. Now, there is something going on. I know the date, I know the place, and I can't tell you either, because the fear is, you know, it would cause massive issues. So for that reason alone, we'll keep that on the down low for now. But believe you me, when this comes out, I will be there front and centre, and I will bring that news to you. Believe you me, it's already sorted. According to legal papers GB News has seen, thousands of motorists who paid to drive their vehicles in the zone may be refunded. Now, that's the biggie. That's what's going to cause TfL all of the problems. Lawyers acting on behalf of TfL say the financial impact would result in the scheme being suspended. They went on to say its operation of the public transport could be impacted. The zone was extended in 2023 to encompass all 32 London boroughs, having originally launched in 2019, covering central London. Motorists driving vehicles that do not meet certain emission standards have to pay £12.50 every day. That's me as well. I have to do that. I haven't looked at my record to see how many £12.50s there is. In a question to the Mayor's session on June the 11th, Sadiq Khan told Miss Hall the signage was legally sound. That is that video footage I played for you right at the beginning. He said, we often have examples of TfL personnel putting up signs which are not sound. The signage, non-TfL personnel, rather, the signage that TfL put up is sound. So as far as he's concerned, they're legit, and he's on camera saying that. But there's already been a ruling beforehand saying that the low emission zone signs are not legit. So, and he would have known that when he was asked. There have been some errors made by TfL in the past where some of the signage has been just outside the perimeter of London. And there's always checks being done on any signage to make sure it's within the parameters of what should be allowed. I am confident in the briefing I've received that at the moment the signage is sound, but it's kept under review because human error often happens in these sorts of cases rather than anything more promiscuous than that. If there's been any errors made by humans, we will rectify them. A TfL spokesman said the low emission zone signs were deemed lawful by the Department for Transport in 2008. Due to a processing error, the correct evidence was not supplied to the adjudicator in time. In Mr. Wilcox's previous case, we continue to robustly defend our position. So there you go. At the end of the day, the main defence here seems to be that if Noel wins, he'll bankrupt TfL. That seems to be the only defence in play here, and also a case of the signs. You know, oh, we didn't get the stuff in time. If you knew the legal bullshittery that's been going on in the background, they are really very concerned about it all. Now, what I want to do is play a video. It's a couple of minutes long that GB News clipped last night, which is an interview with Nigel Farage and Susan Hall, which sums it up quite nicely and echoes some of the things I've been saying. And then we'll have a look at what you guys have to say.
So Susan Hall joins me in the studio. I mean, this is an incredible David v. Goliath case. But if it happened to be that this case goes through and he wins at this big stage, that would mean huge amounts of money having to be refunded back to car owners, lorry owners. And I mean, what would happen to TfL? I mean, they'd almost go bust.
Well, it's a very interesting case altogether, isn't it? I mean, the road traffic people, adjudicators, in October 2021, they said that the LEZ signs were unlawful, and they directed TfL to issue a refund for any fees paid. Well, TfL haven't issued any money back, but equally they've carried on charging people. Yeah. And they seem now to be quite concerned about it. They've appointed a King's Counsel to deal with this court case. But it could be quite difficult, to put it mildly. So let's wait and see what happens. But Noel is a really lovely gentleman, very calm, very quiet, inoffensive and humble. And he's quite convinced that he's correct. And he said to me, road traffic signs are prescriptive in legislation and they're not open to interpretation. And he has been told that the signs are wrong.
So basically, he won this case a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and TfL just decided to ignore the judgment of that court and continue.
They've not only ignored that, they've carried on because the signs haven't changed and they've carried on charging people.
And you know, do you want him to win this case?
He's a lovely man, so of course.
What a diplomatic answer.
Yeah, not like me at all. No. He's a very nice person. They've thrown all sorts of things at him, but he has been steadfast and he said, no, this is wrong. They haven't even made an attempt to change any of the signs, and as far as we're aware, they've never challenged the decision.
Incredible.
So if the decision is right, it leads us all to think, is everybody being charged correctly?
We had a quick...
Very nice man, Noel Wilcox. There he is, just a reminder. And he served his country as well in the armed forces. He's a normal guy, the same as you and me, and it's quite literally a case of David versus Goliath. And they are that worried, as you heard Susan Hall say. They're throwing King's Counsel at it also. So there you go, pretty heavy stuff. Well, we got nearly 750 people watching. That's wonderful. Welcome, everybody, if you just joined. We're going through some news about Noel and what's going on with TfL and the fact that Sadiq Khan could be in a bit of hot water. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're a new person here. And right now, I want to go through some of what you've said. So here we go. Maureen Carter, good afternoon, Andy. Hello, Maureen. Hope you're well. I certainly am. Not sure which way to look. So much bullshit in every corner of the country. You are not wrong, and welcome. I appreciate it. The next one, Penguin Overlord. Work this out. My home help is literally 2 minutes walk from the town centre. But if she drives, she's got to pay 13 quid congestion. That is the problem. I mean, you've got a lot of places in outer London as well. That fall into that trap, and some of them are right out the way in the country. Why in the name of hell do they have a camera there? Why? It's ridiculous. Rude Girl 5446. I hope you're not. How Shaka Khan, I love it. Is still mayor is baffling. He may even make that is a worry. I mean, I have two worries. That. And also what's going on with the other party as well, which we won't go into for the sake of this live stream. Tracy M, hey Andy, this video took me ages to open. It said this video is private. Go back to home. You know what? I had quite big trouble with YouTube last night. I don't quite know what it was. It was on a go slow, so it may be something or the subject. You never know. Steph, hello. When eventually, I'm assuming you mean Khan, eventually loses his mayorship, I wonder which country he will emigrate to. I can't see it. It's many countries that would love to have him, maybe North Korea. Oh, God. One thing you have to realise with a lot of these people, which I've learned very much over the last 5 years, there is always stuff that goes on in the background nobody knows anything about. And all I will say with Sadiq Khan is look up C40 cities, and you will see that there is an invested interest in making this work very much. Penguin Overlord, YouTube is my main source of news and entertainment, legally TV license free since 2007. As more and more people are coming that way, you get the likes of me on here who are literally just bringing as unbiased as we can view of what's going on. All right, maybe I might be a little bit biased in this case because Noel's me mate and I think the ULEZ scheme's a joke, but there we go. Steph, oh, wow, you've got me beat, but Mars still may be good for him. I'm thinking there's something more. God. Somebody, oh, here we are. Yeah, a bit of humour going on here. Maybe Elon will do the honours and send him. They done that SpaceX rocket the other day, didn't they, where there was the launch. That was good. Native Strong, how would your grandfathers have handled a foreign nation-sponsored emming resource pillaging? Some of our forefathers, I think, would be spinning in their graves right now if we could hear what was happening, or if they could see what was happening. At the end of the day, we have a British Parliament stuffed full of globalists and Christ knows what else. They want to destroy England by regionalising it. You can go and find that anywhere. They've already done over Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. They want to rip it to pieces and enforce a constitution and a way on us, which is completely and utterly foreign. And, we should all fly our flags. We should fly our England flags, our Scottish flags, our Welsh flags, our Norrish, and by God, even our Cornish flags. Get them out there. Show them who we are. And if they take them down, put more up. Sharon Lewis, I think the Mayor of London should be investigated. A lot of stuff's coming out over time, isn't it? With regard to payments for this, payments for that, specialists here, specialists there, an awful lot of garbage and wastage, that is for sure. James, watching from the independent state of Northern Ireland, yes. Ben Habib of Advance is very big on Northern Ireland, and I think they've hit or announced that they've hit 25,000 members today. So that's another 5 to go before the magic 30,000. That's great. Craig Mawson, hi Andy. I hope you and your family are well. We are very well, thank you. In fact, while I've been talking to you, you won't hear it because I've got a directional mic. I heard a car start and pull away that side, so I think they've all gone out. I did tell them I was going to come and hide in the garage. Imagine, thanks for bringing so much of this to light, Andy. Absolutely. There's stuff that majority of the mainstream media won't touch, and I lap it up. If there's stuff like this, it needs to be out there. It definitely needs to be out there. Khan's doing a great job, ... for them. Yes, absolutely, Tommy. Absolutely. It's the way people feel at the end of the day. Arrest us for it. Toby Henderson, give back your V5C, state in the covering letter you don't own the property, you only have an interest in the V5C property. I've always wondered that, Toby, because at the end of the day, you don't own the thing, do you? It says you're a registered keeper quite clearly on there. So I have always wondered about that. Ben, hello, Ben. He hates even having to answer these questions. He would love to be an unaccountable dictator. Have you ever noticed with the London Assembly, him and his cohorts never ever give a straight answer to a straight question? Doesn't happen. Must go to the same school as Keir Starmer. Raylin, at what point is the Poundland Mr. Bean to be voted out of office? He's useless. Well, I can't understand how he got voted back in the first place. Well, that's a lie. I do actually, but I see the point. You have a very good point. That's for sure. Toby again, don't be scared of this shit. If you're charged, it's an offer to contract. Send it back stating you decline their offer to contract. I've had some big problems with TfL myself. It was over a misunderstanding, and I had to get rather shirty in the end, involved my MP, and threatened to put them on here, and they soon backed down in the end. You can't be bullied. You literally can't be bullied by these people. That's the thing. Hatchy, airbags on the way, and I'm talking cars. Perhaps the hosepipe methane will become a dangerous weapon. For fuck's sake, don't light a match. Yes. Well, also as well with the whole ULEZ thing, I don't know if it's there still, but you used to be able to get the air quality of London up on a website, up on a map, and it wasn't what it appeared to be. It was a lot cleaner than they were making out. Yet again, showing it was a rip-off. Alan Russell, I get charged regularly, even though I've not been in London. Someone else's car has a P on the reg and mine an F. Have to contact them every month for a credit. I've heard stories from a retired police officer that I know, and he says that he was made aware that they change things with black tape on the number plates to try and change letters to get around things. So it's almost like cloning, and I wonder whether you're falling foul of that maybe. I mean, I'll tell you a story as well. I know somebody who sold their car and it went through and everything else, and this person still gets fixed penalty charge notices. And, you know, even though he's not seen the car in 2 to 3 years, I'm going to have a field day with that if they don't shut up and leave the poor person alone. But that's another story for another time. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. This was all about Noel and an update based on what came out. And obviously, Noel and I had a chat this morning. There will be some news coming out on this very, very soon. As I said, I can't say any more than that at the moment, but I will do, that is for sure. If you haven't done so already, please support Noel. You can find him on X. Go say hello. Sure, he'll appreciate all the best wishes. Leave a comment. Also on this, if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. 750 watching nearly. Subscribe to the channel. Share this on your social media. It's important that this gets everywhere. I'll be along a little bit later with something else to share with you. And as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.